What's good, TMG fam? It's your boy L, and I'm back with another reaction. How y'all feel? Welcome back to the channel. Salute. Listen, man, the next video we're gonna get into, which is kind of different, a little different. You know, at least the first one, because I'm giving it to you two-piece no biscuit style. All right, is the top 10 scary messages from outer space. All right, I'm kind of confused. What type of messages can you be receiving from outer space, fam? You know what I'm saying? That kind of contradicts the whole there's no other life forms out there kind of theory that's be tossed around in different things like that. And I'm hearing now that they've actually confirmed that there are other life forms out there besides us. So if you're living up under a rock and you don't know what's going on, man, it's weird. It's weird right now. We're in this kind of a weird space right now. And I want to check this video out to make it even more, I guess, even crazier. You know what I mean? Get your mind just to running, depending on what this video says. So we're going to check that video out along with the top 10 worst school field trips, bro. I know that's kind of two opposite ends of the spectrum, but that's how we do it over here. We don't care, man. We just combine anything. You know what I mean? So we're going to check this video out first, the top 10 scary messages from outer space.
Okay, I know that everyone at some age or another has wanted to be an astronaut, and why the hell not? Go up and land on the moon with NASA, or try to go to Mars and build a colony there so we can survive once we wipe out Earth's resources, because yeah, it's gonna happen. And I mean, it was already confirmed earlier this year that we aren't alone and that aliens do exist. What a shocker. I knew this from the beginning. Now, the universe is huge. I always knew other life forms were out there, and they've been sending us messages for decades, so we've been new for a while now. Starting us off with number 10 is the pattern. So this news actually came out at the start of this year when researchers who are part of the Canadian Hydrogen Intensity Mapping Experiment put together a paper based on data from their radio telescope. Now, from September 16th, 2018 to October 30th, 2019, they recorded 28 fast radio bursts from a spiral galaxy. Now I'm about to go Jimmy Neutron in this place and explain some scientific concepts to you. So fast radio burst is a radio pulse that lasts anywhere from a fraction of a millisecond to 2 to 3, and they occur due to a high energy process that we are yet to discover. Now the telescope recorded an FRB every 16 days, which is the first time we've recorded a pattern of messages from outer space. The cycle would include the burst coming through for a 4-day intense flurry, with the signal being recorded every hour to then nothing for 12 days. Pretty sure it's an intelligent civilization somewhere out there trying to send us a message. I mean, what else could explain it? The researchers have pinpointed this.
Now, are they trying to send us a message, or are they tapping into our systems and observing us? See, that's the thing that here we go. My mind, here we go. Here we go. I'm gonna be up all night just thinking about this. I see it coming.
Source to a huge spiral galaxy about 500 million light years away from us, but that's still the closest signal we've had in a long time. Some believe that FRBs must be coming from a binary system because other objects in space have done the same thing. The source could be swinging around a black hole or a star, and that's what's causing the pattern to be like that, but I don't really know. Coming in at number 9 is power. So continuing on the whole concept of FRBs, we need to talk about the Lorimer burst. Back in 2001, astronomers discovered the first ever FRB, and they named it the Lorimer burst. It lasted for a total of not even 5 milliseconds and came from about 5 to 11 million light years away, meaning when it was emitted or released, Earth hadn't even formed yet. Mind blown. Either way, within those 5 milliseconds, this FRB released so much energy that the sun couldn't even release that much in 4 months, let alone 5 milliseconds. That just spooks me the hell out, because for us mere mortals, the sun is one of the strongest things in our world, and for this signal to be stronger than the sun, well, I'm kind of super interested to know where on Earth it came from, or, you know, not on Earth it came from. At number 8, we have the burnt cosmonaut, and believe me when I say the story is actually more dramatic than a title I gave it. So back in 1960, the Utica Cordelia brothers were working as amateur radio operators when they heard something they think was from the Soviet space program, which is really important because in the 60s the Soviet Union refused to disclose a lot of the deaths of their cosmonauts. Forget disclosing it, they would straight up hide it or lie about it. They'd be like, oh, there were no people on that spacecraft to begin with, so who cares if it imploded? exploded. Everyone? Anyway, fast forward to November of that year when they caught the SOS signal of a woman returning to Earth's orbit, and from the recording you can tell that the spacecraft is malfunctioning in some way, like something just isn't right. The woman says the words "I'm hot" in Russian before the spacecraft goes up in flames. How haunting would hearing that be? It would scar anyone for life. And when confronted, the Russians claimed it was an unmanned craft that got burned. There was not a single mention of this woman who the brother—
Bro, they will straight up lie. You can have them dead to rights, fam. We hear her voice, and you still gonna straight up lie to our face, bro. They have no respect for the public, man. Or they just think we're that dumb. Like, we would literally buy into it. And I don't think the case is that some people like to be lied to. Some people really like to be lied to because they feel like knowing the truth just ruins their world. You know, they like to go on with their world and continue on as if nothing's going on around them. And that's cool for some. But for some of us, we don't want you to lie to us, bro. We want to know. We want to know what's going on. We want to know what could potentially happen. You know, what's all the realm of possibilities? Give us that option, I feel as though, but don't straight up lie to us like we some dummies, man.
The straight up heard die. Filling on number 7 slot are the blinking stars. I feel like stars blink all the time. Now I barely see any in the city because of the lights and the pollution, but they're always like twinkling, literally almost blinking at you. My favorite constellation, not that you guys asked, but that I'm gonna tell you anyway, is for sure Orion's Belt. You know, the 3 stars in a row. I've always loved that one. And anyway, back in 2016, a group of Canadian astronomers saw 234 stars that were all blinking together at the same time. 234. That is not a small number by any means. Now, the guy who made the discovery, Eric Trottier, believes it happened because of aliens, and I mean, I do agree with him. He believes aliens are pointing a laser in our direction, and that laser is causing a difference in the light of these stars and how we see them. And if that theory doesn't make sense to you, then swallow this one. Maybe every single one of these stars is a separate civilization, and they're working together in an effort to talk to us. That is a great team effort, I'm not gonna—
And I know we all deem it as negative. You know what I'm saying? Their communication could be positive, but since it's unknown and we've been fed this theory, or we've been fed all our life that aliens equal negative, equals bad, equals they're coming to kill us, they're coming to abduct us, they're coming to take over our bodies, they're coming to take over our planet, and humanity as we know it will cease to exist. That's the type of stuff we've been fed through movies and whatever the case is. You know what I'm saying? So what if, and I say what if, but that don't mean I want to be the person on the front line. You know what I'm saying? I just say, what if that's not the case? What if? I told y'all I'm gonna be up all night now.
Bye-bye. Kudos to you. Now, number 6 is the black hole. I've always been fascinated with black holes. I mean, I've always heard that if a human entered one, our atoms would stretch exponentially and then we just cease to exist. I mean, would that hurt? Like, if we survived, do we just pop out the other end of it? I need answers.
I'm an idiot. It's just the way she said it. Sorry. Back to it though.
Either way, back in 2011, Edward Morgan worked as an X-ray data collector at MIT, and he collected data on this far, far black hole. Morgan then transmitted it into a sound that even us mere mortals can hear, because in reality, the sound is so deep and low that the human ear cannot pick it up. Dog and cat ears maybe, but not us. Now, the sound itself sounds like anything that entered that black hole would immediately be sucked into the ether, never to be heard from again. Like, it's crazy. Now let's have a listen. The tiny skips you can hear are actually the infrared jets coming out of the hole. Like, why can we hear this black hole and not others? What is this hole trying to tell us? Coming in at number 5 is the roar. Yup, you best believe there's a galactical kraken out there that let out the roar of its ancestors. Well, not really, but that would be a freaking good story. So during the 213th meeting of the American Astronomical Society, they discussed a super loud signal that they had heard. And I know we've mentioned loud or strong messages and signals in this list, but this one may be the loudest. In 2006, when they heard the roar, it was 5 times louder than any of their predictions. This roar they heard was 6 times telescopes bigger than all combined radio wave sources ever. Raw indeed. And number 4 is frequency 4462.3, also known as our closest chance. Now the really interesting thing about this signal is the fact that its source is a star, and it's been the closest source to us that we actually have on this list. The star is called TYC 1220911, and it's only 100 light years away from us. I know I'm saying only like it's 2 minutes away, I get it's far, but it's the closest one to us on the list. Now the star sent a 10-second signal that scientists picked up on and were very interested in. They believe that it must be another civilization or aliens trying to grab our attention because of the proximity of the star and how close they really are. They're basically our neighbors. They're probably sending us a signal like, do you have spare milk? Did not get groceries today. If they even drink milk, I don't know. The filling at number 3 slot is the Wow signal, which sounds a bit like an advert for Signal toothpaste, to be fair. Wow signal, buy it for $3 today. But that was a tangent, the story has nothing to do with toothpaste. Now back in 1977, the telescope at Ohio State University detected a signal coming from the Sagittarius constellation. And after you hear the audio, it literally feels like some alien got a hold of an ASMR microphone and is just breathing into it real heavy. Now the signal lasted 72 hours and it perplexed the staff so much that they wrote wow in the margin of the paper the signal was recorded on, hence the name. Now at number 2 is SHG 602 plus 14A. Again, not the name of Elon Musk's other child, but let's not put it past him, shall we? So that long name was what scientists labeled the source of this radio signal that they had discovered. But here's the weird part. The signal seemed to be coming from empty space. Like, yes, they tracked it further and found that it was coming from this area between the Aries and Pisces constellations. However, there had been no stars or planets near the source for 1,000 years, so it's like, where the hell is it coming from? Now the signal came at us at 1420 megahertz, which is significant because hydrogen takes energy at that frequency, and it's the most commonly found element in our universe. This is a big deal because scientists have thought to use hydrogen to contact extraterrestrial life before, so the fact we received a signal at this frequency.
How many of y'all knew that they use hydrogen to try to connect extraterrestrial? Like, telling you, man, you start snooping around and digging around, you'll start uncovering things that you didn't know that you feel is like, yo, I think we the public should be privy to this information.
Is insane. Someone could be trying to contact us this very second, and I'm too busy doing a top 10 video about it. Well, not this very second, probably way in the past now, and they've probably forgotten they've even tried, but still. And finally, at number 1 is the Cassini-Huygens mission, or Huygens, not really sure. Now this mission was a collaboration between NASA and the European Space Agency, and it launched the first ever spacecraft to enter Saturn's orbit, which is a pretty big feat if you ask me. Now in 2002, the spacecraft recorded Saturn's aurora, which is caused by the planet's strong magnetic fields. And obviously we can't hear the signal ourselves, since that's one of the many shortcomings of being human, so the university lowered the signal dramatically so we could hear it too, and it sounds scary as hell, like straight out of a horror movie scary. And that is it for today's video.
And that's probably just a mere speck of sounds that are out there in space that would scare the devil out of you. You know what I'm saying? Or some of the things that you could see, like when she showed the black hole and it sounded like a jet engine. You know what I'm saying? Just revved up all the way. Like, whew, we just don't know, man. We just don't know. And I think it's just foolish for us to think that it's just us. How, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever, just how arrogant of us to think that we're the only ones. We are the chosen ones, that are only ones here. I doubt it.
You guys, space, it do be large and vast, you know? Let me know what you guys thought in the comments.
Great video, man. I told you, man, I love YouTube University. You know what I'm saying? YouTube University. That's what this is. YouTube University, man. You learn a lot. If I could have skipped 12 years of school and did 12 years of YouTube, I probably would know way more. I feel like I do now anyway. But anyway, this is the top 10 worst school field trips, bro. Here we go.
Hey everyone, this is Trent Gray here, and in today's video, we'll be going through the top 10 worst school field trips.
299 died and 5 are missing.
Alaric was underwater for at least 30 minutes.
In the 10 spot, we've got a school bus that was driving down the street when a car pulled in front of it. The bus swerved out of the way and into a swimming pool.
A school bus crashed into a swimming pool this morning. 9 students were on board. No one was hurt. A car pulled in front of the bus. The bus driver apparently swerved to avoid a collision, but then clipped the car anyway.
I bet parents can solve this case in a matter of 5 seconds. These irritable, these impatient people that feel as though they can't wait behind a school bus, or they can't wait till the school bus pass, or they cut them off, or they shoot out from around them. It's so irritating to see that, man. If you ever walked your kids or a relative or a cousin or a little brother to the school bus, you've seen it. You've seen it. The impatience will piss you off royally, man. It's just crazy, man. These are kids. What has gotten you to the point to where you're in that much of a rush? And if so, you need to leave earlier, bro. Like, it's scary, man.
The bus went through a yard and landed in the pool with it back there, teetering on the edge. The driver of the car did suffer minor injuries.
Moving to time, we've got 150 seniors going on a class graduation trip to Disneyland. They were super excited for it. It was going to be a lot of fun, but it turns out just before only days, the trip got canceled. It turns out the bus company that was going to transport them all canceled. And the reason why was because that bus company got a higher offer from another school to go on a different graduation trip. I mean, talk about being an awful business.
They had to cancel because EDC was paying them more.
This is what senior Michelle Candelaria tells me is why Aero Stage Lines bus company canceled on Western High School's senior grad trip.
Oh yeah, we've been looking forward to since, like, for me.
She's ready to cry, bro. I feel horrible, fam. That's a terrible business, bro. Like, oh man, that's one of them times you wish social media would just use its power and just go in on them and ruin that business.
Since my freshman year, and so I don't know, like, we were all just mad, sad.
About 150 seniors were looking forward to staying at Disneyland until the bus company canceled on them Thursday evening.
At Ray, we've got a terrible accident that happened on this field trip. A bunch of students and their teachers went on top of this mountain, I guess. I don't know if it was like a skiing place or what, but they were supposed to stick to a certain path, and the teachers were all supposed to be supervising them. However, they stopped supervising all of them because they thought that, I guess, the students were going to behave and stick to the path themselves. So, like, 6 students wandered off and slid down a slope that they weren't supposed to. And unfortunately for them, I guess there was a big drop-off and some of the students passed away.
I was going faster. I grabbed the branch of a tree. I assumed the others had gone over the brow ahead. We stood shouting, but we didn't get any answer. His friend, Thomas Plumridge, said the others had disappeared only a few yards in front of him. He had grabbed the last bush before the edge.
In the number 7 spot, this one is super sad.
Imagine being a parent and you get that type of phone call. They bet not come back. The teachers can't come back. Not to where we live. Not around me. They can't come back. They can't come back until my child comes back. And unfortunately, you're telling me my child isn't coming back, so you can't come back.
Because it was so easily preventable. This involves a 5-year-old boy and a 63-year-old woman, both of whom passed on a kayak that flipped over. I guess they were going to the beach for a school field trip, and the company that was in charge is now being sued because they provided no lifeguards, no life vests, and they sat 4 people on kayaks that were meant for 2. So when it flipped over, they didn't have life vests on, all that kind of stuff. It was just a recipe for disaster.
The kayak used was for 2 people only, but 4 were on it without wearing life vests. The complaint says when the kayak capsized, Alaric was underwater for at least 30 minutes. Alaric's parents were notified, but say limited information was given. So his father, Lucius Chu, called the hospital. It was the worst phone call of his life.
In the number 7 spot, this one is downright disgusting. It's not technically a school trip or a field trip. It's more of a choir trip, but I'm counting it anyways because this pastor, he went on a choir trip with a group of kids from his congregation or whatever, and These kids, they're on the younger side. One of them, I guess the youngest one that he did stuff with was 8 years old, but he did stuff with these kids that no adult should be doing with a child, and he was caught, I guess, and arrested for doing so, and I hope, quite frankly, that he never gets let out.
A detective with the Shreveport Police Department's Crimes Division testified today that Pastor Lewis, who is still the pastor at Act on Faith Ministries on Hollywood Avenue, was also the head of the church choir, made up mostly of young girls, and that the pastor allegedly had some of those girls while out of state visiting other churches. Lewis has been arrested and charged in district court on similar charges and has been out on bond for about a year.
Number 5, I gotta say this is probably the worst one in this entire list. This one is really, really messed up. This is the Sewol Ferry tragedy. And basically, there were a bunch of students in South Korea from multiple different high schools that were excited to go on this trip where they went on a ship and then went around places and that kind of stuff. But there was a total of 476 people on this ship, from what I understand, and 304 of them ended up passing away because the boat pretty much capsized. The most awful thing about it was that that 304 number could have pretty much been 0 so easily, because the captain, the entire time they were having problems with the ship, kept on telling them that they were fine just to stay in the room. And while this was all happening, he was a huge coward who just got himself off the ship while it was filling up with water and the students were down below in their...
Are you kidding me? We all know what should happen to him.
Rooms. Eventually, the water filled up so much that they couldn't get out.
April 16th, 2014 is a date South Koreans can never forget. It was the day of this Sewol Ferry tragedy. Of the 476 passengers on board, 299 died and 5 are missing even till this day. 6 years have passed since the first wave of investigations, but nobody knows the exact reason for the sinking.
In the number 4 spot, months ago, when that whole sickness thing started happening, I gotta call it that, because if I call it by the actual name, they'll demonetize me. But basically, when that all happened, a lot of people had vacations set up, trips, including these students who had school trips planned to go to Washington, D.C. with a bunch of their classmates. They were super excited. It was planned for over a year, but like I said, it was canceled because of that whole sickness situation, and some people didn't have insurance on their travel, and the travel company just basically told them no refunds, you're screwed, and a bunch of people were out thousands of dollars.
Oh, okay, it's been canceled. Like, stinks, but that's the way it goes.
Our individual travel company may still offer you an opportunity to go on your scheduled trip, even though the district has canceled out-of-state travel.
If the district's not backing it, what does that mean for my students?
It basically means students would be on their own. Vanessa and her husband dropped about $2,500 on the trip, but since they purchased insurance for it, they opted for a refund.
But from what I understand, parents who didn't purchase the insurance are now being told that they may not get a refund.
Who would have thought? We had a bunch of students going on a school trip. They had a couple parent chauffeurs in the buses as well, and the bus driver, it turns out, maybe had a little bit to drink before he came and started driving, because he was swerving all over. The parents were freaking out and made the dude pull over on the spot, and they had to wait like almost an hour to get a replacement for this bus driver and get going back on their field trip.
Parents on board the bus felt uncomfortable and called Daphne East's principal. The district tells us the principal called the bus company and the buses pulled over so a new driver could continue the trip. But parents say Baldwin Schools still has not told them anything about the incident. The parent we spoke to says she was texting her child and other parents on board and says she felt scared.
Real quick, before the next one, make sure you like on this video and also subscribe to my channel, or else your next field trip is gonna go wrong. Number 2.
They be trying to cover their behinds. You know what they be trying to do, man.
These students were going on a field trip, and on the bus, one of their parent chaperones, which happened to be one of the students' mothers, was acting a little bit strange. And it turns out there was a reason for that, because she has some illegal substances along with her that she was using during this field trip.
Yo, she was like, yo, it's about to be a bunch of kids. I definitely got to make sure I am, you know what I mean, nice. I gotta be high for this.
I guess she just wanted to pass the time a little bit. I don't know why she would do this in the first place, but she got caught and busted and arrested.
Washington County mom who passed out on a school field trip is going to jail. Stephanie Bailey was a chaperone for her daughter's class trip in Ozaukee County. She had heroin and drug paraphernalia in her purse.
I thought he was gonna say weed. She had heroin.
Judge sentenced her to 45 days in jail.
And finally, we're starting to do off with a 3-year-old boy who went on a school field trip to the rodeo. He was excited. I guess he got separated from his group and ended up getting lost. And the people got on the bus and started going back, and they didn't even realize that he wasn't there. It was actually some random dude just at this rodeo that noticed this lost boy and helped find out where he was supposed to be. And the mother, of course, after she figured this out, was not happy.
What if he felt like, I'm not going to see my mom, or my teachers left me, my friends left me, you know? Was he crying?
Last Friday, while on a field trip to the rodeo with his school, Thompson Elementary, Carter was separated from his Head Start classmates and left behind by his teacher, HISD confirms. A 3-year-old all alone in the crowd. It was a rodeo visitor who found him and connected him with another class from the school. The district says this as his class was already on the bus and heading back to Thompson. Making it even worse, Williams wasn't told about the incident until yesterday.
Why didn't you report it? Well, he was back at the school. We found him. We didn't find him. Someone else found him.
That's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks.
And honestly, like y'all know those are just tears of, but you know she raged, bro. Ain't no way. And y'all were on your way back to the school? No head count, no nothing. Hey, how you said on the movie Life, I got all my rocks, boss. Like, none of that, not even that. Come on, man. My 3-year-old who probably was scared out of his mind, and then you didn't tell me till a day later? Y'all try me. Y'all try me. Y'all try me. But you're gonna learn real quick. You know what I mean? Listen, man, I hate to bring the mood down. I didn't know it was gonna be this crazy, but this video was crazy. But this is a parent's worst nightmare. Stuff like this happening because you have no control over it. You know what I'm saying? You send your kids off to school and you think they're safe there, but it's scary. It is truly scary. Y'all get at me in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Leave a like, share the video. Until the next reaction, I'm out. Peace. Y'all stay solid. Hey.